listening to the Questionnaire.
Say that again.
You're listening to the Questionnaires.
I've just started.
Right here, for your ears, for your eyes.
The Questionnaire.
Get your Comic on.
Poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
Somewhere else. Doomsday is coming. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Questionnaire. And look, man, I mean, if Doomsday is coming, I ain't Superman. I'm the unknown factor. Like, I don't want to deal with that, to be real frank, though, and I don't know why. And just I hope if they ever do that in the new DC films, they do Doomsday justice and don't give him laser vision and just make him brutal. And somebody else I've been brutally beating upon, being like, you should come back co-host. Come on, come back co-host. Come back co-host. Man, you ain't co-hosting like you, the first person to ever really co-host and started the rotating co-host on the last episode of season 1 with Alfonso, right? That's Chrissy Wiseman back in the house. How you doing, Chrissy?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Excellent, man. And then, can I say, I didn't realize that was like a whole book. I just thought it was the Free Comic Book Day book, and now I'm annoyed because I feel like I have to go get the book, and I don't want.
Yeah, I got the hardcover. It's big. It's nice.
There's so many different segues you just popped up in my brain that I should not use, Chrissy. So let's try it. So we've been talking a little bit before and after. Of course, I highly recommend you check it out, man. I don't know what they were talking about while I was taking my dog out, but then it turned to stories of Stan Lee and first R-rated films, and then apparently Rob got really bored. Robert Bellamy just is like, I didn't want to read. I wanted to look at pictures. I like pictures too, Rob, but like
articles. It's all about the articles. I'll get that.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're going to hear a ding at some point while something finishes exporting on my computer that literally took a day to export for a quest that will be coming soon. Yeah, it took a whole freaking day. I wasn't happy about that. I got other stuff to do, and it's like I took a whole day. But Rob, man, you were on a while ago with Steve and Scott, and chicanery ensued. I don't know any other way to get into what that was, because it was a lot of chicanery
stuff.
Yeah. Choking chickens, and then now you're trying to get Stevel. Now you're trying to take Stevel's hand, and
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, an interesting point that apparently got brought up just in the conversation that we were having in the pre-show, is that everyone thinks Blade is the first R-rated film.
I've seen a lot of press on that, where it's the first R-rated film for comic books, but you proved it wasn't.
And it's funny, because if I had ever seen that article, I'd have instantly been like, you're wrong, because the first R-rated film I ever saw was Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher.
Yep.
And yeah, that predates Blade by a good chunk. What would you say, 9 years?
9 years.
Yeah. That's just shows you how wrong and how much the media really pays attention to comic book movies. I guarantee there's nowhere you could find a full article of every comic book movie that exists, because someone would skip a film they thought they didn't know was based on a comic book, because I've watched films I didn't know was based on comic books before. So it happens. It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. But man, and we were also talking conventions and this and that. And Rob, if for anybody that's checked out the previous quest, which look, I highly suggest y'all do. Like I said, it's sheer chicanery. We got a lot into conventions, because you host Fan Expo. One thing I don't think was asked, though, if I'm wrong, correct me and we will skip to a different question. But what made you want to start throwing cons in the first place, man?
Stupidity. That's the honest answer.
I love the candor, man. That's fantastic.
Actually, it was my girlfriend, Christina. She is big into costumes and was just getting into cosplay at that point. And she's going, I want to do a costume contest. And it's like, we can do that. It could be fun, but we can do something a little bit better. And so I went and talked to my buddy Chris Bullard at the GME, the comic and game store, and said, this is what we're thinking. Want to do another event? Because Chris and I had done an event earlier, a couple years prior. And he goes, yeah, let's mix it up. So we put this little event together. It was held at a Legion, so that shows you how big it was. We had hoped to hit like 80 people, but we had 200. So it's like, okay, this is a thing. So the next year we found the biggest place in Chatham, which is the Bradley Convention Center, and we started CKX. So stupidity.
You started an expo because your wife wanted to have a costume contest.
Yep. When you say it like that, it sounds really dumb.
That's what you just said.
I know, but coming out of your mouth, it makes it sound dumber. But no, I shouldn't have done it.
Does your wife still like to cosplay?
Oh yeah, she runs the cosplay contest every year. And she tricked me, because now our film festival, which is in our 6th year, we've decided to settle on Halloween weekend, so we can have a Halloween party. And guess what? A costume contest, right? Oh, I was tricked. I was tricked.
So your wife has made you throw film conventions and comic book conventions completely under the guise of wanting to do costume contests. Man,
Well,
look, I think I need to have your wife on, because I think she's way more of a hustler, mover, and shaker than you are, because she convinced you to do all this because she wanted to dress up in costume. That is impressive.
the cons, yes. The film festival I started because I wanted to show film. And it wasn't until this year she finally got me to have a costume contest at the film festival. So she twisted it around, because we started doing the film festival in August, and it kept creeping back into the fall. Now I know why. She was aiming for October the entire time.
That's funny.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, in all fairness, so it's great marketing, because I think in doing that, once you have that particular aspect, you add an audience that you wouldn't have garnered, or at least all of, initially. You know what I mean? You're gonna get another layer of people, and I don't. Are there any negative aspects to that you see, out of curiosity, Rob? With
That
people
I
doing
can see it,
cosplay,
because we even twisted it. The gentleman that runs the theaters that's partnering us with the city, he came up with the idea of the midnight screening, because that was always big. So Saturday, starting at 8:30, we're not having a final screening. We're having a Halloween party. And then at midnight, we're doing a screening of 30 Days of Night.
nice.
So another good comic book movie.
Yeah, I only
A lot of
asked
people don't know that that's from a comic book.
I know, right? But yeah. Oh, it's a great book.
That is definitely one of those that falls in that category. But I only asked that specifically because, as far as with cosplayers, and I hate this as a fan of Wade Wilson for so long, and like I said, I am the Wade Wilson of hip hop. I hear sometimes Deadpool's are a problem.
I'm sorry, Deadpool what? Sorry?
Cosplayers, like that particular cosplayer, I hear could be problematic, we'll say.
Well, inherently maybe, depending on how far into the movie they go. Because the movie is definitely not outside family oriented. Normally.
I've met a lot of Deadpool cosplayers, and I've never really had one act gross.
No, neither have I. But I can see how they could, only because of the depths that the movie goes into.
Yeah.
So
I like hearing that. I've heard the opposite several times. That's why, and I don't know if there are any other characters that would like go to. Like I would hope you don't have somebody dressing up as Freddy or Michael Myers. Like, I'm gonna stab somebody for real now, because
Yep.
While we're on the subject, Have you heard of what happened to Valerie Curie? I may be mispronouncing her last name. The woman from Home, she plays Firecracker on The Boys.
Oh, is this from the new season?
She's one of the characters from The Boys. She plays a character called Firecracker. She was at a convention and some guys she does some really, I guess, questionable things. I haven't ever watched the show, so I don't know exactly what it was her character does. But some guys at the convention, she was at the convention at her table, her booth or whatever, and these guys must have been dressed up as characters from the show, and they were demanding these things from her that her character does. They were demanding that the actress do these things and making her very uncomfortable. And she told them that she was uncomfortable and she told them to stop, and they got belligerent with her.
Oh, wow.
And my question is, since you run a con, what do you do to protect your cosplayers and your guest celebrities?
Oh, see, every one of our celebrities has one of our own personal handlers that will handle things like that because we're all radioed. So the minute anything like that even starts happening, I would hear about it and we would be all over it.
Yeah,
I don't.
Don't lie.
I don't-
You just send Dr. Stevel after him.
We don't want cruel and unusual punishment charges, okay?
That is terrible though, Chrissy. I do know. I've watched season 2 of The Boys, and I mean it was phenomenal. And I know the character you're referring to that she played, and I don't want to. Can I ask? Do you know who the guys that were accosting her were dressed as? Was it like Homelander and?
I don't know what characters they dressed as. I just know that she said guys that were in costume. I mean, she posted a video about it. You could look it up. But she was very uncomfortable, and she said she likes doing cons, but she's like she's not going to be able to do conventions like this if people are going to make her feel uncomfortable like that.
Well, yeah, they have no right to do that. Yeah.
They don't. And then to get mad when she told them to stop, that's really disgusting. And it goes into the whole movement, cosplay is not consent. And apparently now we have to tell these people that the actor's character that they portray on TV is not consent. Like, you guys need to stop being disgusting. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but the cast members is what they call them at Disney, the ones that dress as Gaston, the ones that dress as Jack Sparrow, they get groped and touched and sexually harassed on a regular basis, to where I've heard some places don't even have Gaston because people put their hands all over them, and that's really disgusting.
Yeah, I saw clips of that about Prince Eric as well.
Really?
Yep.
That's just all I know.
And
From
I've
what you
seen,
said,
I've been to conventions. I've been going since the 90s, and I've seen guys with selfie sticks trying to take pictures of girls' skirts.
Oh, like like the old man mirror trick? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
but with cameras, like they're
Are you,
trying to get
like-
photos with a selfie stick up her skirt.
Look, I was just thinking about you're saying like the whole you can't treat the actors as their characters. See, you're telling me when I meet Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, I can't stab them both and expect them to heal, because I was fully I was thinking like I could just walk up to him, run each of them through, and then be like, "You guys are cool now, right?" Like I thought that would work. I really did, and now
I'm taking those swords back. That's the only reason I got them.
I'm seriously, Rob. I mean, I was just trying to stab somebody that had a healing factor. Now you're telling me it really don't freaking work like that. God, that is no fun, Chrissy. Stop. I don't get it though, but I think it's nice though, because you see at the same time, man. When we went to PopCon, one of the things that I really enjoyed is walking around when my boys see someone, how friendly they are to my kid and willing to take a picture in most cases. Like I've never, and mind you, I can't say I've been to a lot of cons recently. I've only been to PopCon the last 2 years. Beyond that, we're talking Wizard World when it was Wizard World in Chicago, and that's been a while. But I do like that, man, as far as just to see the interaction they'll have. I and I think that's a great thing. I'm curious, Rob, with that, what do you think made it to where doing cosplay became such a larger part of conventions? Because look, I mean, I remember going to Wizard World. Yeah, there were a couple people, but it is not like it is now. Like there are way more people doing cosplay.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to Fan Expo way back in the day. And you're right, there was a handful of people dressed up. But now I think it's the freedom, because people feel free to be in their moment with their pop culture loves, you know? And to another degree, I find that people relish the idea of the craftsmanship, because two of my favorite cosplayers, that's what they're all about, is building the suit. Whatever they're dressing up as, it's the building that they go for. Then they wear it a couple times, and then they're on to the next one.
Yeah, it's the artistry of it.
Exactly.
And as conventions and pop culture, like the comic book movies and everything, has become more mainstream, there's more interest in it, and therefore just more people doing it over time.
Yeah.
Just like conventions used to be these wayward little things at these tiny hotels, hole in the wall, and you'd be lucky if you got 200 people. And now it's an entire weekend at these big hotels, all kinds of coverage. It's really awesome to see where it was when it started to where it is now overall, not just with the costumes and the cosplay and the contests.
Well, then in that, Rob, how do you handle the growth? I mean, because you started Fan Expo a long time, like you said, you started at a Legion, and now you're very much a different level. You're very much, I would assume, dealing with different people, as far as actors and such. I mean, I know that from prior conversations. I don't know why I'm asking. I'm saying it like I don't know, Rob, like we've never spoken. I don't know this man, officer. I have no idea where he was September 26, 2023. All right. That is not information I am privy to. But with that, how did you handle the growth and make it to where it didn't become something that was spilling over the plate you were trying to put it on?
We honestly, I have to say, we got lucky because the growth has been natural. At no time have people come that haven't come back. And it's just a trickle effect. So we were able to build around the people as they came in, up to the point where this year was our first 2-day show, because last year we were starting to be tight walking around, and I don't like that. Like the one big one here in Toronto, Fan Expo, it's you have to walk like this through the crowd, and when you're walking down an alleyway and you can't see the vendors on either side of you, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So
that's claustrophobia right there for me. I can't handle ones that have that many people.
But that's what it last year it started to get that way. We weren't that bad, but I could see it happening. So we decided for our 10th show we were going to go 2 days, and it worked out perfect. It almost split into 2 days, and we still had the growth. So
you haven't had like a total explosion of growth that you weren't prepared for.
No. Luckily, I sometimes wonder if I would like that, or if it would deflate me, because when you get those massive spasms like that, it never holds, and those people don't usually come back the next year. So it would go boom and then back, and it's like, oh my God, are we dying? Do you know? It's
probably because when the conventions don't have enough room and it's very crowded and it's hard for them to get around, they're not going to have as good an experience as if it's tailored to the size of the growth.
Yeah. And the one thing that I stress at our show, people, that was interesting. People don't have to have money in their hand to talk to our celebrities. When we book people, we make them know that they're there to have as much fun as the people are. So talk with people. I'm not worried. I've got your guarantee set aside. If you don't sell a single autograph, I'm good. Enjoy yourself. And
I like
that's, yeah, because it always bugs me that people can't get close to talk to someone unless they got like $100 in their hand.
I have a question. Have you ever been to the conventions where a celebrity will be signing stuff for a certain amount of money, and then there will be people with carts full of stuff to get the celebrity to sign, and then nobody in line can get to the celebrity because you have this who's selling it all obviously online, and that's how they make their money. And I'm like, if that's your business, shouldn't you like get a hold of their agent and get a signing separately yourselves and not use the convention for that?
Every convention that I've been to or helped with, they always have a limit on how many things you can get signed. Not only how many you can get signed, but how many personal things you can get signed, just to prevent that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
because I've been to conventions where they don't have a limit.
Mm.
And they stand there with an entire little Red Ryder cart full of stuff, the wagon, and just
That
I think also with those cons, there are the money-making cons. Ours is a charity fundraiser, so we're not trying to make sure we get every last dime from people. You know, I find when conventions don't put those limits, that's what they want is the cash. So they say, bring it all in and whatever. If you hold up the line, you hold up the line. You're paying us money.
But if they hold up the line and they have a lot of unhappy customers who didn't get to see the celebrities that they bought fucking tickets for,
Yep.
then you're going to have less people coming next year because they're not going to be interested in going to a convention that allows that.
Exactly.
And then that's going to hurt your wallet over time anyway.
Yep. Like this year, we had Jeanette Goldstein come from Aliens. And it was great because for the first hour, she was just there talking with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I saw her, she was not behind her table for like the first hour and a half, talking with everybody. And you could see the smiles. People were like happy to be talking with her because Lieutenant Vasquez, right? It's freaking alien.
look,
I think she was one of the most badass characters. I loved her in that movie.
and like I have loved those universes, the Alien Predator universe, man. Like that's my jam. I love it. It's crazy. It's creepy. I think I really hope that it's screwy that I'm saying this like this, that Disney can make a really good Alien versus Predator film. The fact that I included Disney in that is so weird. But that's just who owns the company now, right?
So far, so good. Romulus.
Right? I know. And Prey was phenomenal. I know that was kind of in
It was
the midst
good. I
of the
did like
ship.
Prey. The Aliens and the Predator movies, the only ones that I like are the originals. I like Alien 1, and I like Aliens, and I like Predator, and I do like Predator 2. I do like Predator.
I love Predator 2. Danny Glover is amazing.
Why does he get so much hate? I don't understand.
The rest of the movies that they made from that until they made Prey, to me, were all just
Yeah, filler.
And I think for me, the one that I hated the most was they did Alien versus Predator. That one was okay. And then they did the sequel to that,
Requiem.
That one, I was just so mad about it because the stuff that they did with the pregnant women, I'm like, first off, that wasn't a face hugger. That was the queen laying eggs. They did that simply for the shock value. And I'm like, why are you ruining the narrative just for shock value? The whole movie was just disgusting.
I'll say it before, and I'll say it again because I've said it before. But like, why didn't they just use the phenomenal source material that was there? Because they didn't want to spend the budget and to put it into space. They wanted some script, and that's what it was. Like I guarantee it was just budget. But if they'd have put the budget into that, Fox may not have had to sell to Disney.
If you want to know a cool little fact in that universe, in those universes, Bill Paxton has a distinction that nobody else on the planet does.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
Yep. He's been
Alien,
killed by...
Predator, And a Terminator.
Killed by all three. Nobody else has.
But that tornado didn't get him, which I still always kind of find funny.
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? That is, but yeah, man, and I love how you playing cons like that. So, with that, do you think the conventions that are strictly for money and they're not so much worried, like they are completely a money? Because I feel like, I mean, I know you got to make money when you're throwing a con. That's fine. I get that. But do you think there is a tipping point where it becomes too much about that and not enough about the event, where it negatively affects the event?
I think it absolutely can. One of my buddies runs a con in London. Actually, two friends. One is for charity like we are, but the other one is for profit. But he doesn't compromise the fans' experience for the sake of making more money.
That's good.
Yeah. And that was one that I'd mentioned before, where they put limits because they had William Shatner come in, and it pretty much was his entire, like, he even told me, he goes like, this is going to do me or it's going to kill me. It's one of the two, right? And when people came in, it was fast. Like I was helping in the line. So we had all the pictures out there. They would write down what they want. We'd put it on a sticky note, put it on the picture. So when he gets up there, Bill starts writing out everything, and he can still talk to the people, but he's just reading off the paper and he's writing. So it's perfect. And that line went so fast. It was great.
I love that.
People got the experience, but he was still able to make money on the show.
Brilliant.
So it can be done. It's just, how deep do you want to dig into people's wallets? That's the big thing.
I find that as a fan myself who goes to conventions, I am more likely to spend my money if I'm having a good time. If I'm stressed out because the event is all about making money and not about, like, for instance, you go to a convention and instead of meeting comic book creators and artists and stuff, it's all vendors who are resellers of toys. Like, I could go to a freaking Walmart and buy the same shit. Okay. Why do I want to go to a convention that's just a Walmart, a glorified Walmart? I want to go and I want to see stuff that people have handmade. I want to see crafted stuff. The 3D printing was cool at first, but now it's like every other table is 3D printing. And like, I really want to see people's original artwork. I don't like seeing somebody who isn't the artist, who has tons of prints that he's just either stolen off the internet or he's commissioned from people and he's selling a ton of prints. I want to see someone with their own original artwork.
Wait. And Rob, please, that happens. There are people that literally commission, if I can get the word, commission artists to make pieces, and then they make prints of them and they go to cons and sell them.
I've never experienced it, but I wouldn't put it past people. I got to be honest.
I've seen it.
Like, we literally had a vendor we had to ask to leave. The only vendor I've ever had to ask to leave our show, because he came in, he set up, and I'm walking around doing what I have to, and one of our featured artists comes over. He goes, one of your vendors is selling my prints. It's like, what do you mean he's selling your prints? He goes, it looks like he downloaded the picture offline and printed them out, and he's selling them. So I walk over with the artist, and it's like, okay, I got a question. Where did you get that print? Oh, I got a deal worked out with the artist, where I get this much, he gets this much. And really, how do you have a paper that says that? He goes, oh, no, I know the guy personally, so we set it up. And then the guy behind me goes, I don't think so. That's my art. And you see his face go white. And it's like, I think you need to take that down. And I just asked him to take the art down. He packed up everything and left. And he hasn't been back to the show.
Good.
It's probably because everything was like that. And he was like, oh, I got caught once. This could...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and-
wonder how many other shows he's used that excuse at because the artists weren't there.
And I've asked people at their tables about the art, and they've said that same exact thing, that they have a deal with the artist. And I'm like, I really doubt it. I really do.
So now when we have vendors come in with any kind of prints, I need to see up front that they're good to sell it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good to make sure that they have those papers that say that they have the rights to sell it.
But that's so let's cut to another part of doing a convention that I doubt many people give a second thought. Right? So let's just say in a year, how thick do you think, if you could get every document that has to be signed in some way, because I know you're probably doing some of them electronically, whatever, this or that, but if you could get it page for page printed out, how thick of a stack of papers do you think that would have been for the most recent one you just threw?
Oh, from all the oof. It would have been deep.
I-
Yeah. At least about this deep. At least about that deep. For the
I love
just for
how-
the vendors.
I love how initially you're like, what was the, oh, you mean that? Oh.
Yeah. You don't think about it because it's all digital.
Yeah, and that's why I made sure I had to add that twist on that phrase, because it is very, very odd that it has so much turned to digital in that, which is fine though. At least we're not, killing trees for that. Lord knows I threw enough magazines out at my regular job today that it was like, this burns my soul a little bit, to be real honest. It does. Just, that's neither here nor there. I say donate it somewhere. But then adding that with having to go through every individual who brings in prints, when you're doing that, having somebody bring in prints, I mean, if somebody tells you they've got art from 10 different artists, doesn't that just make your head hurt and make them want to go, dude, go away. I have other people that can come that I don't have to deal with that amount of paperwork.
Luckily, I have maybe 2 vendors that do that. But now they've been to the show a few times, so I know them. And if they bring in a new artist, the first thing they do is show me new paperwork. So luckily, it's not common. Luckily. So if a brand new vendor comes in, though, that has prints, then we start from scratch and we need all the paperwork.
So when they're doing something like that, because I'm sure I've ran across that at conventions, but it's just never something that I really thought of. I mean, I know I've seen people that are like selling metal prints of this and that, and part of me looks at it and goes, oh, I've seen that image online. I know he don't, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, whatever, and I can go to a different table. But when they're doing something like that, do you find that they're representing the artist, or is it typically that they just have a deal with the artist as far as for selling that print? And do you find that they're pushing the artists that they have as far as for the prints? Like, is it highlighted, I have blah, 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 blah?
No, the 2 that I have at the show, it's kind of a secondary thing. So they'll have all their stuff out, but then they have the prints up on a wall almost that people can just, oh, I want number 3. It's like a poster wall almost.
So typically most of these people are also artists, is what you're saying?
No. Like I said, we have 2 that they're not artists. They
Okay.
come in and sell stuff, but they have a couple artists that they have hooked up with that they sell their stuff in their booth.
All right.
And that's what I need to know. Like I said, that's when I say, okay, show me the paperwork that you are, like, this guy is okay with you selling his art in your booth.
That's just a lot of paperwork, Rob. I don't envy you at all. I think it's something that, and then
It's all good.
well, and then not only that though, man, then you got it on the film side of things, which is a whole different level of paperwork. Like I said, we discussed that with Michael Oeming as far as when Powers was made. He's like, you wouldn't believe the amount of paperwork that was involved in just making sure everything was done properly. So, I mean, how many NDAs have you had people sign, huh?
We just shot a music video 3 weeks ago. And yeah, the paperwork is about that thick. And there was only 4 people actually in the video. and there was about 12 of us behind the scenes. So, yeah.
That seems excessive.
Sadly, it is, but it isn't, because every single piece of paper that gets signed is for a reason. And if you don't have it, there are things that can happen that you don't want to. So it's like better to have it signed and ready instead of trying to fight things later.
What's the oddest one that someone like outside of all of this wouldn't think of?
A release just for your image. Like if we were shooting in a bar, and you know how they have the band up on stage and they fan out to the crowd, right? Every single person in that crowd has to sign a release that they allow their image to be used in your video.
And if someone doesn't sign, you have to like blur them out, right?
Yep. Yep. Or scrap the shot.
What's the biggest issue you've ever had with something like that, paperwork wise, that was in relation to a shot? Because I mean, I assume you have times you're out shooting and there are individuals in a public area wherever you're at.
Oh, yeah, but usually if we're doing something like that, we have our angles planned, so we make sure that nobody random will be caught on camera. Yeah, that over the years, we've learned that fast.
You say you learned that fast, like you had an issue at some point that had to be dealt with.
We got lucky is what I'll say, because some of the first ones we did were very guerrilla style. So there were people in the back, but when we screened it, the people that were actually caught didn't mind being in it. So we got lucky.
Okay. I mean, I respect the guerrilla style, man. I think it's kind of, it's an interesting art. I think it's kind of changed a lot based on the fact that obviously, you know, you can do it with your phone now and you don't need the kind of tech that you used to in that. Like, what do you think about the change in that as far as what you see with throwing a film festival? Because obviously now the things to make a film are way more accessible. I mean, it's not going to look like
4K film shooter right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to look like Infinity War. You're not going to be able to, you know, make, you know, I mean, yeah, you know, but you can make it to where it is pretty creme de la creme. What do you think about that as far as the accessibility and what it's done overall to film festivals and the submissions they get? Do you think it's caused to where maybe they're getting an abundance of submissions? Like, does it become it to where there's not time to even go through the submissions, or does it make it to where there's more submissions that are just from all kinds of different backgrounds and a bit of loveliness?
The first thing that pops in my head is Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. We get submissions from all over the world in our film festival. I've never had a time where I couldn't watch them all. But there are some that just because they had a camera doesn't mean they should have shot anything. So that's all I'll say on that one. But see, I can appreciate that because I know that's where I started. Like if you look at some of the early work we did, it's like I should have been dragged out to a field and shot because it was just horrible.
I think that stands for pretty much the first work that most of us do in any creative field.
Yeah.
You look at your first drawings and you're like, oh, God.
And in all honesty, that's what created one of our awards. We have the most promising individual. And it's because one of the flags in Film Freeway is first-time filmmaker, right? Or we'll go in and once we see something, if it's cool, we'll talk to the filmmaker and find out, oh, that was her first film. Like this was her acting debut or, you know, something like that. We want to show that we can see there's promise there and to keep going. You know, one of our nominees, and he pulled out this year, and I don't know why, he submitted right at the beginning of the season. And it was a rough watch. I don't think that would have made the film, like the festival. But he withdrew it, and then right near the end, he resubmitted it, totally recut. And it was like 90 times better. So we had him down as a nominee for Most Promising Individual, just by that edit alone. It was his first film.
But then he pulled out again.
He pulled out again. He is having the cold feet syndrome, where it's like people are going to hate it. I don't want anyone to see it. You know?
Are you sure he's just not like doing a reshoot and refining the edit again? Like, how long has he got to resubmit?
August 20th was the deadline. He's out now, unless he submit next year. You know? So, but I can appreciate that feeling, because I know there's so many times I've released a film and it's like, oh, I could have changed this. I should have done that. I still do it.
I think that's the thing, being any kind of creative, is there has to be a point where you're like, I'm putting this out. Because as someone who is creative in any aspect, like any individual that's like that, they're always going to be able to look at whatever they have created and go, you know, I could fix that right there, or this right there. And there'll always be one thing, regardless of how many things that you fix within that you'll be able to find. So at a point, you just gotta be like, I just gotta put this out. I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's how it was with my first comic. I redrew that thing so many times.
I believe it. I know. I still look at my films and going, oh, even my latest one. It's like, I want to change that, but it's done. I have to stop.
So what advice would you give to someone, Rob, that's trying to get into these things and keeps finding themselves at that moment? You know what I mean? That moment where it's like, it is done, but it isn't done, but it is done, but it isn't done, but it is done, but you know, it isn't done, but it is done.
Pick 3 people that you trust their opinion, not your family, but that you trust their opinion, and have them look at it, watch it, read it, whatever, and get their feedback. If they think it's done, stop playing with it.
Could you get me a glass of ice water, please?
That is like the most direct, quick. And see, this is why I pre-prep drinks, Chrissy. I don't have mine's asleep, but that was just so funny that at the moment, like you said that, there was no sound and it was perfect and crystal clear. I mean, it's fine. Everybody, you gotta have a drink, right? It was just, you'd have thought, because I got what you were doing, you'd have thought I'd been talking because I talk so dang much. So, you know, whatever. But now I lost my point because that threw me off. And
Sorry.
it's okay. It was funny. What was I saying, Rob?
Advice to people that know when to stop, basically.
Oh, yeah. No, you gave, like I said, I've asked that to a few people. I don't know how many sometimes people get asked the same things. Sometimes everything's random on this show, and I couldn't keep track of anything because that's just how this goes. But I've had, like I said, there's a couple people I've had that particular discussion with. You had a very direct, very poignant answer that I think is probably some of the best advice for someone that finds himself caught in that moment. You know?
Oh, yeah, because there are people in your life that, I've asked my mother to read one of my novels, and she read it. Oh, that was amazing. I'm going, it's a first edit. It's crap. Okay, that's not what I need to hear. But I'm her son, and everything I do is perfect, right? So, not someone I would trust to let me know if a project is finished.
How do you make sure that the person you're giving that to isn't one of those people?
You give them something crappy. Legit.
Yeah.
I've done that to people.
Because if they're sitting there saying it's amazing and you personally know that it is crap, you're going to know that they're biased.
Now, real quick though, you know, there's some things that I'm like, yo, that's crap, and it's fairly popular. So how do you know?
Oh, dude, you
There's
look
no
at it,
taste.
you know. When it comes to film, it kind of either is good or it's horrible. And my stuff that I farm out, because I know I've got it, is a little horrible. And I'm comfortable knowing it's horrible. What's that? Sorry. Hello, hand.
Oh,
This is my daughter, Victoria.
Hello.
How goes it? You are now on the questionnaire, so you know. with Robert
Bum,
Bellamy,
bum,
who runs a expo up in Canada and a film festival and does films. And you do too much, Rob. How do you bloody well balance all that with life, man? You got kids? You got kids, Rob? We never had that discussion.
I do, but no, I book myself way too heavy. You're 100% right.
And
Like-
you don't delegate a lot of the tasks to make things easier on yourself?
Oh, I delegate them to me. I'm stupid, right? We've established that earlier. Like legit. Last weekend, where was it? Last weekend I was in Thunder Bay helping with the Comic-Con up there. It's like 13 hours away. Tomorrow I take off to Sudbury, which is 7 hours away, to promote my card game. And then the weekend after that, I'm running a charity run. It's called the 0.5 Ultimate Challenge. Right?
Mhm.
Actually, I think you might like this. Because it's being done by a Comic-Con, the Comic-Con clientele are not the most athletic people.
Obviously.
So instead of those 5K and 10K, we are doing the 0.5K. So it is 500 grueling meters of sidewalk that they have to walk. And halfway, 250 meters, we have chairs, we have donuts, we have water in case they need a break. And at the very end, you get a medal and a sweatband that says, I survived the 0.5.
That's freaking hilarious.
So, yeah.
Oh, Rob, you make me wish I was up it. Like, man, I swear, with all the Canadians on this show, Chrissy, you're like you're not in Canada. That's amazing. We have. I think you realize that, Chrissy, you're in America, and so am I. You know, I'm in Indiana, and I think like that's the Americans are the minority on the questionnaire. I think Canadians are the majority somehow, and it really amuses me a little bit.
That's just because Canadians are fun. You know, we do crap like this.
You know what? I've never had
I
a
thought
bad
it's just
question.
because the Canadians were more polite, and so when you ask them to be on your show, they're more likely to say yes than the Americans.
I wasn't given an option of no, so that's why I'm here.
I mean, hey, I don't know the threats that Scott made. All right, those are so. This is all hearsay, right? All right, I don't want to hear about none of this, right? He said you were coming on the show and he would make it happen, and that's all he told me. And I was like, all right, Scott, and you know, Scott's pulled some names, so I don't question what he's doing. I mean,
wait.
he told me.
When we're done here, you're not giving me my pictures?
You got to talk to Scott, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he had some other things planned to use for those pictures to do some other things.
Creepy guy. Can't trust Canadians, I'm telling you.
Nothing on top of the stove.
Anyway, so I said this is my daughter, and she's being really shy, not saying what her name is.
I'm Victoria.
Hi, Victoria. Well, we haven't really given her much of a chance because talking all over everybody.
Sorry, I was just trying to set my house on fire.
Hey, everyone needs a hobby.
It's not one I was really trying for, Rob.
I don't judge.
I'm not finding anything on it. Darn it.
Well sustained.
Maybe I got the name wrong. I will find that card.
What are we looking for cards? I don't know. We're questing for cards? That's intriguing. What happened?
There's an artist I met. I think her name is Debbie, but it says Debbie Draws Ducks. And that's what she does is she takes like posters, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's a duck. And things like that. Like it's great. I'm now thinking maybe the name's wrong. Deborah Draws Ducks. It starts with a D because DDD. I remember that much. But I'll find the name.
Well,
promise.
we can get to that at a different point. I forgot totally what we were getting into because, like I said, I was trying to catch my house on fire over here, and what are you gonna do? Sometimes that burner wasn't on when I put that up there. That's all I know.
Surprise.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's always a fun one, I like those jean shorts.
Can't find it.
Whatever. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I got thrown off by the fact that I really about set my house on fire, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. It is throw me for a loop, and I'm like, oh yeah, really, that actually truly totally just happened. It really, really did. It really did. But man, we haven't gotten too much into the film side of things with you, Rob, which we did on when we were talking with you and Steve-O, and then he kept choking his chicken because he just wouldn't stop. And
He's a
swear.
quirky bird.
Show her the hand prop.
Yeah, no, the fact that Rob, that you could
Yummy,
take
man.
Steve-O's hand and like you could have him choking a chicken on this episode, and that ain't right.
Because see,
Oh my gosh.
in the film, he gets his hand cut off, and they cut it open to get
Oh.
this chip out of it, because this is a future dystopian society. So they cut off his hand, take the chip out, that way they can buy stuff and get around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because Dr. Steve-O did put his hand in the allergen, like that rubbery stuff.
Yeah.
And this was cast in it, and it's like,
Oh, that's creepy. That thing looks gross.
yeah,
But too bad he couldn't pop it back on like Ethan Winters.
it wiggles way too much though. Like,
Pop it back on like a Lego piece.
I mean, it's
Pop-
Steve-O. It's Steve-O. For everybody too, we'll have Dr. Steve-O coming up here pretty soon on the Quest.
yeah, I was with him last night, and I said, yeah, I got the podcast tomorrow. He goes, I thought we were on a podcast together. It's like, no, they wouldn't do that again. Nope.
I mean,
Blood's still wet.
in all fairness, like to
Oh,
Dr.
God,
Steve-O.
film that.
This was like 3 years ago. I hit a pocket.
It's still wet.
Yep.
Ew.
Ooh.
Why though?
That concerns me.
Get a paper towel for it.
All right then.
You
So
just need the Band-Aid.
you got Dr.
Yep.
Steve-O's hand over there, and it's still wet.
I know, right?
Yucky.
I swear that's not from me.
Well, we'll ask Dr. Steve-O about his thoughts on that, on his
Yes.
quest coming up here shortly. If you want to see the chicanery between the two of them with Scott, yeah, go check that out, because like it's debauchery to a certain level. I swear on my life, really.
That's fun.
Like
was
it is, man. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm curious, man. As far as when you're going in, how do you pick an initial concept? Because I think, wait, yeah, no. I don't want to. I know something that I don't know if I should say it on the show. Rob?
I'm intrigued.
Well, there's a particular co-host of mine, and you do films, and I'm pretty sure he's like, is that okay?
Sure.
Plug my ears.
I'm an open book. Don't worry. There's nothing really
I mean,
hidden.
we got Scott. You got Scott. Oh,
Always
yeah.
edit it out if there's a problem.
Hmm?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. It makes it, I got a lot of stuff to edit. I'm trying to make this simpler, and now I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna because you guys I need to square up on y'all shot. So I'm trying to figure. It's just gonna be cut between you two. Yeah, really, that's what I need. For real, Chrissy. I'm not even kidding. For it to fit in the thing, or I got to do the thing with the thing
Like
and the
this, too,
thing.
so
and
right down beside him.
Right, I swear, Rob, you know about editing. Don't just make this more difficult. That's just bloody rude. You know what? You can just not be in this shot. I don't care. I don't have time for this, man. Right? See, and that's that thing of like, look, I'm putting stuff out. All right, hey, look, that's good. I gotta go, and that's because I know there's 6 more to be real honest on the quests. Like that's just the whole thing. I ain't even gonna lie. You ever find yourself in that moment where you're uh at the end of a project, but you're still kind of like trying to tweak those final editings, but at the same time, you know you've got something else coming up, and you're like, oh well, I like this technically could be reshot a little bit and be a hair better, but I got to go.
I've hit that spot a couple times in film. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, back to the question I was asking before I reverged over to that one because that's what I do, right? So you got Scott coming up in something. I don't know if we can get into any of what that is, so I'm not even going to say the genre because I don't know what level of what you're at, and I don't want to say something. If you want to say something about it as far as what it is and get more promo and this and that, that's fine. But let it come from you, because I speak no, I know no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. None of those things are true, right? But how do you go about picking the cast as far as for when you've got a film and you've got the story written out? What do you look at as far as to make sure you can get who you need to play a particular part? That was a pretty long-winded way to ask that. Like,
dude, that was quite the trip, but I got where we're going, and I like the question. That's it.
I could have gotten to that question like, hey, look, it's because I live in Indiana. It takes a while to get places. Sorry.
One of my best friends, Pondo, lives in Indiana, so I know. I'm the same way with him. He has amazing questions that take a couple minutes to come out. So, I hear you. No, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I've actually been very blessed with the people I've met. 9 times out of 10, like we're going to be filming in November, and everybody that we've got cast are people we know that fit the characters that we need. So it's just been like luck, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, fair enough. But to cut to what you initially said when you started to answer that, Mad Man Pondo asks questions like I do.
There are times, yes.
Okay. That's just, I'm sorry, because obviously instantly you said Pondo. I clearly know who that is. That some of the things I've seen him endure still, oh my gosh. Have you gotten him in any films?
No, actually, no.
Like, look, you could literally hit him with a chair. It'd be okay.
Oh, yeah, the guy is brutal to himself.
I have much love to Mad Man Pondo for what he does. It's been a while. I won't lie, since I've seen any Mad Man Pondo matches. But some of the matches I've seen with him, yeah, like
You're gonna be surprised when you see him next. Then he has dropped so much weight. He is looking so much better than he did.
Is he still wrestling?
Oh yeah. He was just at the what was it? Meeting? No. Oh gosh. Meeting of the Gigolos?
Gathering of the Juggalos.
Yep.
That was hilarious, Rob.
Yep. He goes to that every year.
The meeting of the Juggalos, he says. I think that's a different
Juggalos.
Yes,
I don't know. I mean,
Juggalos.
I mean,
not Gigolo.
No,
Juggalo.
That's a different meeting.
But Rob, I guarantee. Look. Rob said the meeting of the Gigolos the first time he said it. I got it. Huh?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And like I'm saying, that's a very different meeting. I don't think Pondo goes to that one.
I don't think Pondo's been to that one.
Yeah. No. What's wrong with you, Rob?
Scott, I see your Crow poster on the wall there. What do you think of the remake?
Oh, we don't talk about the remake. See,
who was
yeah.
it?
I get it from two sides, because Rochelle Davis, who plays Sarah in the original, she's one of my best friends. And when I talk with her, that film doesn't exist. You know, no.
We don't speak
Now
of
it's
it.
funny because a lot of people don't know that there's
Now,
it's funny because a lot of people don't know that there already was a remake with Eric Draven's The Crow.
It was a TV show.
Yes.
Uh,
And it was okay. I kind of liked it, but this new one,
Yeah.
has anybody seen any part of this or checked it out in the trailer or anything? I'm curious.
I
I've
looked
seen
at the
clips.
trailer. I looked at the trailer,
I
and I'm
kind
like,
of.
if it wasn't The Crow, it would be a decent movie, I think. But since it's supposed trying to be The Crow, I'm like, no, it could have just been
gotta be
a
honest. If they had picked any other names, I think it may have done better than it did.
And you mean if they hadn't made it Eric Draven, they would have made it a different Crow?
If it wasn't Eric and Shelley, exactly.
That's what I
Because-
was thinking too.
Well, and you see, with that one, you have to remember James O'Barr left halfway through. Like, he was on board at the beginning, and they just kept twisting it and changing it to the point where he said, you know, I'm done.
Yeah, it's not his vision anymore. I get that. It'd be like if somebody was trying to make an adaptation of my work and then they were twisting it, and I would be like, I'm done.
There is only one element from the graphic novel in that film that reflects the original graphic novel. And that is at the beginning with the horse in barbed wire. That is the only image that is in the graphic novel. Everything else is different. So it's like, why choose those names?
I just
Yeah.
look like, and that's an interesting point I never thought of as far as like, hey man, if they'd have just titled it something different and not and renamed the characters, it probably would have worked. And I like I said, I kind of clicked
Well, if they
through it.
would have made it a Crow movie, but not made it Eric Draven and Shelley Webster,
Yeah.
then they made a different characters. Like the sequels that they did to The Crow, where it wasn't Eric Draven coming back, it was other characters, like the guy whose son was killed by the motorcycle gang in the second one. It was a completely different character. He was just a crow that had gotten brought back by the Crow.
But you know how they got around that? They
How?
don't ever say their last name. It's just Eric and Shelley. It could be Eric and Shelley, anybody.
I mean, yeah.
Give me a
Yeah.
break.
All I know is like there are certain films that people are like, if you reboot these, it's sacrilege.
Yeah,
right.
we will hurt you.
There's
Right.
no way that they can recast anybody else as Ash Williams in an Evil Dead remake.
God.
That's why when they made the Evil Dead remake, they didn't have his character Ash Williams. They had different characters,
Yep.
which worked for me. I actually liked that one.
The other part of The Crow that drove me crazy when I was watching these things and listening is in The Crow, it's about Eric coming back from the dead to get vengeance for his and his girlfriend's death. This, he is actively trying to save his girlfriend by bringing her back from the dead, which is nowhere in the graphic novel.
Yeah. I see they did.
But
They messed it up more than I thought because I didn't even know about that part.
If it was just like him getting vengeance, you know, all
Yeah,
that
like
and
the original.
shit,
Like the original, yeah.
then that
Yeah.
would have been cool.
And
But
of
it
course,
looks-
renaming the characters would have been.
It looks like a John Wick Crow movie, is what it
Yeah.
looks like. So
It's
I think
Goth
that's
No.
what they're going for, really. I think they're trying to make a revenge movie, a kind of a John Wick kind of movie, and not. And if they were going to do that, they should have just done something different and not use that source material.
Here, wait. Here's what they should have called it: John Wick, Gothic
Yeah.
Edition.
I like it.
It's the John Wick Gothic Edition. That's. Yeah.
Alternate.
That was the other thing too. This is a heavy goth like story, and it wasn't goth
Yeah,
at
that
all.
wasn't goth. That looked more thug
Yeah,
than goth. So
Oh, well.
they threw out the aesthetics. They threw out the story. They threw out a
But the
lot.
aesthetics was what made the movie so good.
Exactly.
So let's ask that. I'm curious. The list of films that I hear that they typically say are you shouldn't reboot this. One is Labyrinth. I think I hear a lot. The other one is The Princess Bride. And then I don't think I've ever heard Evil Dead, but recasting Ash I think would be would be something you wouldn't want to deal with, and they did that right as far as kind of continuing it how they have and the way they've woven that story. So I think they're right in that. So, are there any other films that you guys can? Huh?
I was just going to say, we actually did a podcast, the movie Madhouse, on people that nailed a role so hard it can never be replaced. And Lambert came up with David Bowie, and Ash came up. Like, those characters are iconic. You're right. You can't.
It's like Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger, and when they made that crappy remake, it was so bad. It was like
certain characters will die when people die. Like, it's just gonna happen.
Like a character that has a mask, like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. Those are, it's the mask, it's the body language. You can get someone who can mimic that, and you can replace them. No problem. But when you have the voice, the mannerisms, you can't replace that. You can't.
All right. Yeah. So with that in mind, what other films would you guys say are on the don't reboot that?
Most of them. They need to come up with new shit.
Goonies.
Yeah. The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is a classic. Don't touch that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd be afraid of what they would do to that.
Oh, now I want, now out of just sheer sick joy, I kind of want to see them do the Lost Boys just to see how epically they fail at it.
Right?
No, why? Just to have more cinema trash?
I mean, I just want to see
cinema garbage.
I just want to see how badly they'll do it.
Production value.
Well, I tell you what, there's a couple of remakes that they made where they recast characters that I actually thought were done well. Like the A-Team movie that they made. And they, of course, had to recast everybody. I liked that one, and I did like how they expanded on why BA was afraid to fly, and it was because of Murdoch, and how he was originally an airborne ranger, but Murdoch ruined him on flying. I thought that was brilliant. Let's see, what was the other one I liked? Fright Night. I thought the Fright Night remake was good.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, because David Tennant played Peter Vincent, and he was a different take on the character of Peter Vincent. He was a Vegas guy, and it was I liked it. I thought it was good.
I mean, in all fairness,
and it wasn't like out of character for the Peter Vincent character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was already kind of like a phony in the original.
Yeah.
So it was just a Hollywood version. He wanted to be Lydia in the second Beetlejuice movie so bad.
My brain glitched for a second, and I hate when that happens. It's because I'm running to a point.
I'll tell you then, I like reboots that aren't reboots until you get into the film. The one that I like the most is Maverick with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that's a reboot movie, but it's not, because James Garner's actually in it, and you don't realize it until he's in the movie that he's playing the character from the TV show. And Mel Gibson is his son.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
I think those are done the best, personally. I mean, because I think Evil Dead's kind of done that with Ash is there, and I think he's clearly, this is people getting messed with after all that crap happened to him.
Shaft did it too with Samuel Jackson.
What?
Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah. They
had Richard Roundtree in it, and you found out later that he was his son.
I still think my favorite, which is the reverse of what we were referring to, is when everybody thought they were rebooting The Thing, and it was literally a prequel. And if you watch, like, if you go, I really say you should watch John Carpenter's and then go watch the new one.
I've got one for you guys. It's coming up. Okay, so it was a reboot, but now it's actually being added into the canon of the overall story. Karate Kid.
Oh, that's right.
Wait.
There's only one bad thing. Johnny's not in it.
No. I'm not talking about the Cobra Kai TV show. Yep. I'm talking about the Karate Kid, and then they did the Jackie Chan Karate Kid. They're going to have a movie coming out next year that combines Cobra Kai, the original Karate Kid, with the Jackie Chan Karate Kid.
Yep. That's what I mean. When they brought Ralph Macchio back with Cobra Kai and all that,
Yeah.
they didn't bring Johnny with him to do the Karate Kid movie. They left Johnny back in the show. And I just feel a little jilted for Johnny.
Yeah. I think it's because the way that they're probably going to end the storyline for Cobra Kai is going to close Johnny's chapter, because if you look at the first episode of the series, it's called Ace Degenerate. And if you look, they've already got the title picked for the very last episode, even though the rest of the titles aren't listed. It's X Degenerate.
Oh, the redemption arc. Okay.
Yes. So I think that they're going to wrap his story up nicely with the end of the series, and then they're probably going to continue on with Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio's character, and they're going to bring in the Karate Kid series with Jackie Chan.
Interesting.
It wasn't that Jaden Smith?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Everybody was like, I feel like that was an interesting response, is all I'll say. You know, excuse me. It's interesting the way they do this, man, as far as how they're bringing everything back. When you're doing your films, Rob, like, what's your thoughts as far as, like, how much of your stuff is linked? And have you ever thought about really, like, and do you have little chestnuts in there like that to link things together? And, like, how much do you think about that going into putting something together?
There is only one link. And right now, with everything we've done, I think there's only 3 projects that don't have it. And that's Star Wars. Star Wars is my thing. So you'll always find a Star Wars Easter egg in the films I do. I sneak those in to the point where I had to have a Necronomicon made for one of my movies. So we had this made up, right? And a buddy of mine drew all these pages. Hang on. Oh, I got it upside down. So he drew all these pages with all this like fake lettering and aged and all that. Except,
I see the Star Wars lettering right there. I recognize it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Arabish that's in here. But it's all mixed in with all the other stuff.
That's so cool.
So it blends. It's just little stuff like that.
It's that Necronomicon is from a galaxy far, far away.
Right? Exactly.
I want to tell you something. I want to tell you something funny. When I was a kid, I used to have a diary, and I didn't want anybody reading it. I legit wrote everything in the Star Wars lettering.
That's the way to do it. Arabish works.
And I swear, everybody who probably found that, whoever found that, is probably like, "What in the world is this? There's got to be some." And they probably burned it.
There's the best page, right? Like,
oh, you got the puzzle box from Hellraiser. I love it.
oh yeah, he drew all sorts of stuff in here. So yeah, like in the last one I did, A Long Ride Home, I have a Star Wars blanket from when I was young. In '78, I got it. So it's one of the OG Star Wars old flannel blankets. And there's a shot where the main character goes back home after 25 years, goes up and sits on his bed, and that Star Wars blanket is covering the bed.
Oh, I love that.
So it's just little bits here and there.
That's dope, but it's not. I meant like story wise, not like Easter eggs. But that's cool though.
None of them are related. None of them are related.
Would you ever have a thought about doing something like that? As far as making you got a trilogy in you, Rob? You got a story like that you feel that needs told? I'm curious. You got something that you're like, this has got to be a lot.
None of my stories need to be told. I make them anyway. The only one that we did with the idea of doing others was called Blind Date. and that one was subtitled a Drea Simone one shot, because this character is an assassin, but you don't realize it. The whole premise is it shows this lady getting ready for a blind date, right? And thing pops up, I'm on my way, and so the guy shows up, and it's like, ooh. She goes, I thought we'd have dinner in instead. He goes, okay, cool. So he comes in, and she goes, yep, I'm just going to finish things. I've got drinks on the table. So you see him walk in and crack open the drugs and drop them in her drink, right? And then as they get talking through the whole thing, you see her zip into the bathroom real quick, and there's a woman tied up in the corner. And she goes over and she goes, you're doing good, don't worry. I was hired to take care of this guy because he thinks sexual assault is an hors d'oeuvre and he's doing it everywhere. So, but you stay tight, you're good. So then the credits start to roll, and it cuts back, and you see the guy unconscious with his face in the spaghetti, and all these other women come in to get their revenge on him. And that character, Drea Simone, was supposed to pop up in other places for other shorts, but we just haven't done it.
I am very, very intrigued because you started to tell that, and I was like, ooh, and then you started to take it away, and I was like, that's not the way I wanted it to go. And then you took it the way that was the good way to take it. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see how far you could take that concept. Because I feel like there's a lot you could do there. And not have to be, needing a budget.
No, like there has been ideas for a full-size script on that. We've just never really pulled the trigger.
Pun intended?
Sure.
You have a question? You want to ask it?
Not really.
He makes his own movies.
Sometimes.
He runs a convention.
I don't really know much about either of those things.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's fun just listening to them talk, though.
Well, is there ever it could go either way. Is there a celebrity that you would love to work in with film or have as a guest at one of your conventions? Your dream celebrity to work with?
Question.
My God, as far as acting, is Harrison Ford, but that will never happen.
He doesn't do cons.
Yeah.
He's not a con guy at all. I met Jeff Kober. Do you know him? Jeff Kober is an actor. If you see him, you will recognize him. Did you ever watch? He was in The Walking Dead, but he was also in Sons of Anarchy. In The Walking Dead, it's like season 4 or 5 when Daryl splits from the group and he runs across this other group that's attacking people. He was the leader of that group.
Okay.
And in Sons of Anarchy, he was actually the mayor of Charming. And the sheriff was his brother, I believe.
Okay.
But I met him at a convention, and we were talking. And it's like, how many of these have you done? He goes, this is my 3rd. I go, oh, yeah, you having fun? He goes, I think this is my last.
Oh,
goes,
no.
It's just not his cup of tea. And it's some people it's not, But Harrison Ford is one of those people.
Can I say though, man, It was at San Diego Comic-Con at a panel, if memory serves me properly. He was there, right? And like his responses to questions.
He is so freaking funny. The guy is the best straight man on the planet. Have you ever watched Shrinking?
No.
Let me just double check. It's either Shrink or Shrinking with Jason Segel.
No, I do not believe I've seen that.
Shrinking.
All right. I'll have to invest some time into that, Rob. But no, it's just like him. It's funny because the way he's doing it. It's like, man, I could see some of these guys not taking this well, but he is being hilarious. Like, so.
If you look up Harrison Ford on a Conan O'Brien podcast, I think it's 40 minutes, and it is comedic gold. He is so good.
I think I've seen bits of that because he gives Conan hell, if memory serves.
Oh,
me
he does
properly.
so.
like a good proper hell. He gives like, oh, it's so bad. It's not even, yeah. Oh, he kills me with that. Man, hey, you know what? Can I say? Can I say, Rob? Why you gotta like answer it right after the question? You know? Why you not take it like to the next line? Yeah.
The next level?
No, I said the next line on the questionnaire, man. Put your answers right at the end of the freaking question.
Oh, I thought that's where they went. Oh, is that why there's spaces? That makes sense, actually. Yeah, there's a space underneath for an answer, and I went, nope, I'm just going to cram it on the end. Make you work for it. Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Totally my
So
plan all along.
everybody can go check out all his pre-show questionnaires, just so y'all know, over at the Patreon. Man, all you got to do is be a member of it, but we're going to get into it here just a little bit, right? Like, so why Steel? You know, I've had a couple people say Steel. You know that? Like, it really just is not a good comic book film, right? But
Which
why
one?
Steel? But why does no one say The Mask? As far as, because I understand how much Steel did not live up to the comics, but why does no one say The Mask? Because The Mask movie does not live up to what the comics are in any way, shape,
See,
or
I've never
form.
read that book, so I don't know. I love The Mask, so I don't know how
Oh,
it compares to the
don't get
book.
me wrong, so do I. That's why I ended up reading the book. But you've never read the comic, The Mask,
I've
Rob?
never read the never
They're
read it.
pretty dark. It's actually kind of the opposite. It's more of like a dark series. It's not comedic.
Oh, really?
Look, it is funny, but it's
Well,
funny
yeah.
in the same way that like Evil Ernie is funny.
Mhm.
So a dark humor.
And okay, we'll put it this way. You remember the scene in The Mask where he pulls out a bunch of guns and they all pop out with flags? Okay, in the comic, they don't pop out with flags.
It would be
Gotcha.
bullets.
Yeah. You feel
So
me?
they PG'd him.
Oh,
That's what they did.
that is definitely if look, we were discussing earlier, The Punisher was the first R-rated film. If they would have done The Mask, well, I mean, it was after that though, but it would definitely have been an R-rated comic book film if they would have followed the comic in any suit because it's. I mean, if you read, Rob, you should go get the first one, just the very first that they put out because it went a while and it got really dark to where it's like it take over the world level and this mask is looking for this one and the mask becomes a character in and of itself in the comic, you know,
Okay.
where it was kind of implied in the movie that there's something here, but it wasn't the character that it became in the comic. In the comic, it very much becomes an entity in and of itself. That yeah, it's pretty damn evil, you know.
What rating did Spawn have? Was Spawn not rated R?
PG
I think
13.
it was.
It
No,
was PG-13.
Spawn was PG 13. I'm gonna keep
That's
calling you on getting these ratings wrong, Rob.
I just pulled it up here. It says, though Darkman was the first R-rated superhero movie ever released, Blade was the first R-rated superhero movie to take advantage of its MPAA rating. Which is not, like you just said, Punisher is 9 years earlier.
Yeah, but I think like wait, what did they say was the first?
Darkman.
Darkman. Okay. Oh yeah, God, I forgot that was big.
That's not based on a
actually
comic.
based on a comic. I thought Darkman was a superhero movie, but it wasn't actually based on a comic.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not okay. I was gonna say I didn't realize it was.
It's the Punisher, and obviously, you know, those Blade. Those are based on comics, but the Darkman was its own original thing, kind of like Hancock.
Yeah, but it was done comic booky.
Ah,
Yeah, Darkman was very much comic book esque in in what it was to a large degree. I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that.
I don't think they ever need to do a reboot of what is it, Men in Black? No, don't do that to me. Don't do that to my soul.
What, the Men in Black
Men in
films?
Black International. Yeah, that was
They
a
did.
soft
They
issue.
better not do it again. Don't hurt me like that a second time. I don't need it.
Oh yeah, no. That's definitely.
You just gotta
Yeah,
put Will Smith to it, man.
because they're not getting Will Smith. I think to come back. I don't know, man. It'd be interesting if they could do it in a manner where they brought in some new actors and made it more of where it wasn't a reboot; it was continuation, and they were able to get Will Smith, perhaps Tommy Lee Jones. I'm kind of down.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe at least for cameos to establish that it's the same world.
Yeah.
They could have
The same
Tommy
aliens,
Lee Jones be
same
Zed.
CGI.
You know, he could be in that position.
Yeah, because we don't
Yeah.
have Rip Torn anmoore.
Oh, you could. Ooh. I don't know. Look, Rob, you make like. Ooh. Yeah. As far as having Tommy Lee Jones take or be Zed, yeah, that's. I don't know though. I don't think you really think they can get him to agree to do that.
Oh, I don't know for sure. I don't think so.
That's right.
I think he had enjoyed his time on the franchise, but I think he's done. Yeah.
You know what?
If he did that position, that character doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, so it's not like it would take a lot of. Yeah.
It'd be one day of filming.
Yeah.
Yep.
All I know is we're talking a lot of casting.
Your cat is
We've
all up
talked-
in your space.
Oh yeah, man, my cat. Look, this cat. This is my cat, man. He's cool. Look at him. Check him out. He's what's up, right? What's up, Scotty?
He's
What's up,
skinny
Scotty?
little guy.
Yeah. This is the mascot that just like showed up at my house and decided he was going to co-host the show with me one day, and that's
Yep.
just what happened.
The
I live
cat
here now.
Right.
distribution system chose you.
I was
You
about to
did.
say the same thing.
Right. But he threw me off and made me forget my.
It's
Oh, there you
chosen,
go.
The kitty
See?
claw.
I lost it, but then I got it back, so it's all right. So, Rob, we've been talking about a lot of things, casting this and that. We've been talking about, conventions from way back in the 90s, how things have changed, this and that. So, do me a favor, Rob. Pick a number between, I don't know, say 1 and, no problem. All right. 15.
What is that?
It's a drum from Jamaica, and it says no problem. Now, I need you to not have a problem and pick a number between 1 and 15.
50 bucks, little man.
In my hand. Sorry, I had to finish it. 15. Yeah.
You swayed the vote.
You did.
It wasn't on purpose.
All right.
Oh, I love Kevin
So-
Smith.
I just wanted the
Who
money to
remembers
show,
these?
so he doesn't owe me.
Ben
anything.
Affleck.
Right? That's the number you chose, Rob. You chose this, right? And we've been talking casting, this and that. I've been thinking about just adding this, and sometimes I just randomly add it in. So,
Wizard, I love that book. This
Oh,
is how much I love Kevin Smith. This is a copy of the game that I made, Pros with Cons, that he actually signed for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I went to a show because a buddy that does lettering for his comic book Masquerade invited us to a show here in near us. And at a show,
Andrew Thomas.
Yes. And at a show about 3 months prior to that, his daughter was at Harley Quinn Smith. So we made a special promo card for her. So when we were invited by Andrew to this show, I took one of the games, I split it open, and I put a whole bunch of Harley Quinn promo cards in there. And I took this one, and I gave them both to Andrew. I said, this one's for you, Andrew, because he's in the game. And here, give this one to Kevin. He goes, well, why don't you give it to him? It's like, well, I think you'll see him long before I do. I've only met the man once. But so he took it back, and while Steve and I were sitting in the rows, he messaged me. He goes, "Where are you sitting?" And told him he'd come out, and he handed me this because Kevin took his copy and signed it. So it's like that. I keep that very special.
Oh yeah, no. See, hey, can I say though? Firstly, how are you gonna pick something that don't have the thing that I'm looking for, which is a wizard casting call that they used to do back in the
That's
day?
my charm.
And yeah, sometimes like they didn't do it in every issue, but I do think it's funny you're sitting here talking about Kevin Smith, and I'm like, did he get the name of his store from Wizard?
Oh, secret stash. Probably.
Because that was something Wizard did frequently. It was their little secret stash, and they talked about things. And like, I never realized that. Did his store name come from an article that Wizard used to do?
I think subliminally it may have, yes. Because we know he read it all the time.
I mean, I'm just saying, I love Kevin Smith, right? And
Awesome.
that was just, I was random find, a random connection, and did not think that would lead to me being like, hey, I think I figured out where Kevin got his store name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's, yeah. He who angers you defeats you, man. How true. How true. So we're gonna do
That's
so I have it.
It's hard to see me angry because I don't let people do that to me.
Chrissy, can you find me one? Ask him a question. One of you ask him a question. Just something. No, I mean, well, yeah. If you want to reference the questionnaire, that's fine. I really hope you don't use something I'm about to use. But if you do, that's fine. I'm always for a nice little forte back and forth and trying to figure out and improv and all that good stuff. I mean, yeah.
I noticed on the questionnaire you answered that the superhero you least liked is Superman, and that he's still your least favorite. So why do you hate Supes?
It's least favorite. I don't hate him. I think he can be a good character. It's just he's a freaking god. Like, he's invulnerable. He flies. He has heat vision. Unless you got a little yellow rock, there's not much you can do to him.
It's
Yeah, kryptonite's green.
Kryptonite's green.
Oh, sorry, you're right. It is green. Why did I say yellow?
Because you were thinking about the Flash.
Oh, sorry.
His weakness is literally the color yellow.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, this guy, how do you write that, let alone relate to it? It's like,
I get it, and I've always liked Batman better. Batman was more fun. Because he was human, he was relatable. Superman, I think the only reason that Superman's relatable at all is that he's like an outsider and he feels alone. And I think that's the only thing that I find relatable about the character.
And it's the fact that he still has the compassion he does.
Yes.
I gotta admit, that's the only thing that draws me to that character. Other than that, like, the Doomsday fight was cool because he actually faced a challenge. Everything else, it's like,
I have to say this. I really like your hat.
His hat?
Yes. Lean in, camera.
Oh, what?
Oh, Nightmare Before Christmas. That's cool.
Because I'm wearing Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nice. Hey, it is the season. You know what I mean? That's what's up. So I will say, man, like, I gotta. We're gonna get to one thing, but I gotta get to one thing, and then but dude, Star Wars, really? You want to go live in the Star Wars universe? I'm not sending you, and you get to use the Force, right? You just get to live in the Star Wars universe. I don't.
And what's wrong with being a smuggler?
Yeah, what's wrong with being a smuggler? Get my YT 1300 and just chuck around the universe.
All right. And I do have to give you how do you not read any comic books right now, Rob?
Because in all honesty, I used to collect like a madman. Like,
Okay.
I from 1 to 390 or something like that of X-Men. I had every single issue except one. Like, this is what I used to collect. And then when I had to move back home, I had to sell my collection to buy our house. And that hurt. So I read a couple books from time to time, but I just didn't have the same feels that I did before because of having my heart ripped out by selling my collection. So I've never really ventured back down that path, although there's been many times I've been tempted.
You don't
I
even
haven't
like
yet.
read graphic novels?
I have graphic novels of older stuff that I've read, like the Mutant Massacre and the Doomsday. Like, I have those graphic
But you
novels,
won't
Green
read
Arrow.
anything new.
Sorry?
I'm surprised you haven't gotten Kevin's new stuff, like his Quick Stops series and his the Masquerade series. You should.
I do have 3 issues of the Masquerade, and that's only because I got them from him, like they were signed by him and Andrew. So I do have those, but
You have issue 3. Do you have the Secret Stash variant?
no. No. I
My
know.
buddy did the pencils for the cover, and I did the inks and the colors for issue 3 for the
Oh,
stash.
no way.
Yeah.
Excellent. No, I had no idea.
And I will
Yeah.
say, man, like if you're a fan of Kevin's work, Rob, like what he did with You Absca, like the Quick Stops, the volume 2, I think I had to message Andrew about it at one point. And I was like, dude, what is this? Is not what like really like this went dark, bro. This went dark, man. It went real dark. It got pretty serious. Yeah, got a definite hard R if you're gonna put it onto anything, that's for sure. All right. But man, I read some comics, Rob. She's a freaking P. That's all I'm gonna say, right? You should read comics, dude. I can give you
I
like
barely have time to watch a movie anymore. That's what I mean. I'm booking myself way too much, and I need to slow down. So,
hey, you know what? You know
wanna
what,
get burnt
Rob?
out.
Sorry?
Burnout's so fun.
Mhm.
oh yeah, no. I haven't hit that yet, but I'm definitely knocking on the door. So that's why I know I need to taper back.
Yeah,
Once
and
November
you
hits,
need to get some staff members that you can delegate a lot of the small menial tasks to make things easier for yourself.
Yeah.
well, see, that's the stupid thing, right? It's not all one thing. It's not just CKX. It's also the card game and the movies that we film and the podcast that I'm doing. And so it's hard to delegate that to different people when I'm the stupid man planning all this crap. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. After November, that's when my schedule drops right off, and I'm leaving it like that. So, yeah.
Hey,
Then I'll have time for comics.
Rob, but truly, some of us just kind of have to live in madness. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Hey, like honestly, how
At
many guys?
least you're not bored.
Yes, very much so.
Busy like Dad.
I
You
always
can't stay
I
with
always
this.
like Harvey Danger. If you're bored, then you're boring. And I hope you haven't been bored with this quest, ladies and gentlemen. Right, Rob, it's been a pleasure, man. Now, look, right before you all go though, right? I just got to do something because we got to do it. Right? I hope Rob's enjoyed himself. I hope y'all have. If y'all have, firstly, click the links in the descriptions, man. You can learn all about Rob's works, all kinds of things, right? But what you can also do, Cinema Dragon, right? Nice dragon. You know what I'm saying? Not the things Hannibal throws at us in the game. Just the game is dragon. Hannibal throws mean dragons when we play D&D over here. Right? No, nice, polite dragon, right? With that old school rock'em sock'em robot, right? It's just a big old dragon-sized pot of fresh corn on the cob, just ready to go. You know what I mean? Plus, little pocket with a couple Wonder Bars. Right now, that's if you've enjoyed the quest. Now, if for some reason you haven't enjoyed the quest, I ask again, why are you here? Right? Really want to know. I mean, I really don't want to know. You do you, man. That's you, right? I say just don't hate watch, right? But
Don't tell me.
but if they did, right? And Rob's just really bugs you, what I want you to do is I want you to send Cthulhu. That's hilarious. Like the quest before this, Adam said something that was an HP Lovecraft monster, but it was something I can't pronounce again right now, and I'd have to
That
pull
was
it.
the
It
only
was
one I could write.
dude. He wrote one that I was like, how did you pronounce this? What is this crap? So thank you for just putting Cthulhu. I appreciate that. Right. Just smothered in blue cheese. Right. To take Rob, sit him in the biggest movie theater ever,
Jesus, nasty.
and make him just watch that Crow reboot over and over and over and over again. Right. But again, that's just if you didn't enjoy this quest. And I hope you've gotten all this way because you did. Besides that, I just want all y'all out there to do 3 things, right? 1, give it that thumbs up. 2, always get your comic on. You hear me, Rob? Rob, you hear me? I said get your comic on. All right? Right? Besides that, have a good night, y'all.
This has been the questionnaire.
Where's the link?
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
In the link below, yes?
I will drop it like it's hot.
That's another party.
It's cool, man. I love it.
The questionnaire. That is all.